How much weight do I add? How challenging should I make this workout or this set? Figuring out the appropriate amount of challenge in your workouts is not super simple. There's a lot of intuition that comes with training for the long term that, like, when you're someone who's just starting out into strength training, it is going to be less obvious, how much you should add to the bar or how many reps you should be doing. As you get more seasoned, you're going to have a better idea of like how capable you are, and that will make making like weight decisions easier. But the other thing we always have to do is combat our ego, and making good decisions about weight selection is something that will keep you healthy, strong, and lifting for the long term. So the really simple question is, how much weight do I add? And then how do we go about figuring this out in a systematic way? So the first thing is you just got to get good at making an assessment. And what I mean by this is thinking about it as an educated guess, right? The idea that you're going to have like a perfect ability to figure out the weights that you use in the gym is a misnomer, because in reality, we're not going to feel the exact same way every day, and that's okay. What we want to do on a regular basis is meet ourselves where we are and challenge ourselves appropriately. The goal in the gym, this is very broad, but it's to improve our performance outside of the gym, right? There's also a lot of other benefits to training, like mental health benefits, muscular, like building a muscular physique, all sorts of good things, right? But at the end of the day, like what we're trying to do is just make ourselves capable for life outside of the gym, right? So the first way to start making an assessment is just think of things as like easy, medium, or hard, right? And if I prescribe 3 sets of 10 reps to you with no other parameters, you could basically just go and you'd pick up a weight for whatever particular exercise it is. And there's a lot of nuance in this. If you're not very good at squatting or something like that, we got to actually learn technique, and that's okay. But like if I said, let's go to the lat pull down, the machine where you're pulling the bar down from above you, right? I said do 3 sets of 10 reps. And you do a set of 10 reps with 50 pounds on there. And you're like, man, that was really easy. Cool. Let's go up. Let's go to 70 pounds, right? And you do a set of 70 pounds. You're like, that was actually medium hard. Like that was challenging to me. It was hard to get those last few reps done. Cool. This is probably a good place to stay for a little while, right? I can't give you the exact parameters for how long to stay there, but I'll talk about that a little bit more as we get going. You could go up again and you could do 90 pounds. And let's say you only get 8 reps at that 90 pounds. That might mean that like, okay, we got to kind of find the sweet spot between that 70 and that 90 pound mark. And we want to eventually build up to where you can do 10 reps of the 90 pounds. Failure safely is a part of training, and it's totally okay. But we also might want to build the capacity to do 3 sets of 10 reps at that 70 pound mark, that medium challenge. And then we want to just gently push ourselves to try to do a little bit more over time. So basically in the beginning, pick a lightweight, do the sets and the reps that are prescribed to you, and then just assess if that was medium or hard or easy, right? And if it's easy all the time, we need to challenge ourselves a little bit more. We need to go into that medium hard level. For the most part, like training for the long run is probably lifting in this medium to medium hard challenge range. And that's totally okay. Depending on your goals, you might have to push more into the hard range at regular, intervals. And a lot of rehab can be kind of more easy to medium-ish work. Again, a lot of nuance in this. This is not individualized recommendations. This is a general approach to adding weight to the bar or making training decisions. So where we can go next is starting to look at things in terms of like making an assessment that's a little bit more dialed in. And this is where reps in reserve and rating a perceived exertion can come into play. Basically, these are just more specific assessments of difficulty. So if I gave you 3 sets of 5 reps at 105 pounds or 95 pounds, you would have the weight, or you have the reps times sets times the weight, right? So these are all like pretty objective. They're like straight up numbers, right? What we want to start to do is make a we can either prescribe like, hey, do 3 sets of 5 reps at 95 pounds. And I want this to be like with 2 reps in reserve every set. Or I can take away the weight and I can use RPE as a way to prescribe the challenge to you. There's a lot of ways to do this, right? But in the beginning, it can be really useful for people to start to assess the degree of challenge and get a little bit more specific by rating how many more reps they could do in a given set. So if you did 3 reps at 95 pounds and you think you could have done 2 more, that's 2 reps in reserve at 95 pounds after doing 3 reps. And this is RPE 8, rate of perceived exertion is level 8. So this flow chart, which is complements of reactive training systems, is basically, was this too easy to call like a true working set? Then like it's below 5 reps in reserve. There's some nuance to that. We just keep following the cascade here. And if you could like do 2 more reps, but like, maybe not a third or like, maybe only 2 reps, then you'd be like RP 8.5, right? If you can do 3 reps in reserve after doing a set of 3 or 10 or whatever, you're at RP 7, right? So we just start to dial in this assessment of what we're capable of, as well as the challenge that is, coming through like the work we're doing, the challenge and the exertion we're doing. So what this helps you do is get good at guessing. And when we get good at guessing, we can make better training decisions, right? You're not going to feel 100% every day. You're not capable of hitting your 1 rep max all the time. This is the nature of our physiology. Like we ebb and flow. Over time, we want our performance to increase. But for the most part, we can't hit like our maxes all the time. This is part of getting stronger, right? But what you can start to do is understand that, hey, if you do 3 reps right here at RP 7, that is approximately 83% of my 1 rep max, right? So we can start to test the waters in an intelligent way that doesn't push us into failure. And this can help us make progress towards our goals, right? Because training is about building more so than it's about performing all the time, right? So this chart is basically a reps in reserve or RPE built like correlated towards percentage work, which is super powerful. It allows us to understand the fact that like we have, a potential that we can't just push into all the time. We have to train in kind of this medium hard level, which is often, honestly down in this 85 to 70-ish percentage range, right? So like that medium challenge, right? So what we want to do with RPE, with medium, hard, easy type of thinking, this baby to move. Come on, baby. Come on. There we go. So is we want to start to create like parameters and then eventually we want to create targets. I really do like creating targets and thinking about things from a target perspective because it will push you a little bit. So I just made up these rules right now. These are not hard and fast, but basically like think the closer you are to like 1 really, really hard rep, the closer you are to like your 1 rep max. And what we can do is we can basically push for, if I'm doing 3 sets of 3 or I did a set of 3 at 135 pounds, I will add weight when I get to 5 reps, right? You could add weight from session to session. The tricky part is we don't always know if we've gotten stronger. But if you go from you did 3 reps at 135 on week 1 of your training program to you did 5 reps at 135 at about the same level of challenge, we know you've gotten stronger, right? And this also works for more like muscular endurance activities. Like if you do 25 pounds for a set of 7 on say like a dumbbell row, and once you get to 10 reps at that weight, then you can add weight to like challenge yourselves appropriately, and then do the same thing. So like you're just always kind of trying to get to a certain amount of reps with a given weight. This is a really simple way to kind of just make decent training decisions, but it's not the only one. We can also incorporate a lot of other strategies in conjunction with the things I've talked about. You can also just train intuitively for a little while, like just literally go in and do what feels good, and that can be beneficial. But over time, what we want to do is create good assessments of what we are doing, like from a how hard is it standpoint. And then we want to start to make good predictions and good guesses about what we should be lifting. And this is where coaching really can be beneficial to a lot of people, is because we often just get scared, or we get greedy and we're trying to push too hard too soon, or we're not pushing ourselves enough. and having a coach that can help you make good training decisions, teach you to put weight on the bar appropriately, teach you to use some of these systems can be really beneficial. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you. If it has, please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube, and follow me at dave.strengthandkindness on Instagram.